When we say trauma, most people picture war zones, natural disasters, or abuse. But here's the truth that no one talks about. You don't have to be a combat veteran to be traumatized. And you can't think your way out of it because trauma doesn't live in your thoughts, it lives in your nervous system.
Today, we're tracing the shape of trauma, not as a headline event, but as the quiet imprint left on the body. We'll name the wounds that don't always bruise, the survival states mistaken for personality, and the truths too many were never allowed to speak. If you've ever felt like you're on edge, numb, or you're trying to hold it all together, this conversation is for you. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Stephanie, and we're Wildly Unbothered. So, trauma, there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of misinformation around it. What would you say are some of the misconceptions or misinformation that you've noticed or picked up on it?
The assumption is that it is the big things. It is a big, huge something that happens to you. So it can be, pick a thing that feels really big. And it is that big, huge event that happens to you. That's trauma. But that's wrong. Trauma is not what happened. It's your body's response.
And that highlights that nervous system aspect of where it's affecting and how it affects it. Getting away from the event itself and into the body, what does that look like?
So when the event happens, your nervous system instantaneously decides how it's going to respond. It has already done the thing, and that is the trauma. It's happening inside of you in an instant. So that it isn't about the event. It isn't like you sat and decided, does this feel like a big, huge deal? Am I going to have a big response to this? Should I be emotionally charged? How do I feel about this? No, it's literally just right then, already done for you. It is what happens inside you. So your body goes into this survival mode and it gets stuck there. That's what trauma is. It isn't just the big stuff. Things like developmental trauma, systemic trauma, racial trauma, medical trauma, these mass events, combat trauma. So what would you say it is?
Right. It could be all kinds of things because, again, it depends on how it affects your system and how it's being processed. So it can be things like growing up in chaos or not having needs met or being dismissed or ignored. Those things are too much for the system to handle, or there's some missing pieces. So our body kind of responds with that survival mode or trauma responses.
It's being neglected, shamed over and over, needs not being met. So death by 1,000 paper cuts is what I will tell somebody. I'm like, if you get paper cut once, you're it's a zinger, and ouch, and you notice it and you kind of rub on it and it's like, ow. But if you had a bunch of them all over your body, it hurts. Right. It hurts a lot. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. So that chronic is still trauma.
Yeah. And I think that adds to the layer of it doesn't always look like we expect it to look. So going back to that veteran or having these extreme reactions or intense nightmares, those can be part of it. But a lot of times there's very high functioning people with layers of trauma that they don't even understand how it's affecting them.
Mm-hmm. That we label it as PTSD, which that's a discussion for another day because I don't think it's a disorder. I think that it literally is your system doing exactly what it needs to do. So, but we label it as that, and we have certain concepts of what PTSD looks like. We have concepts of who would have PTSD. It's of the person who, has been the combat veteran, experiences a loud noise and drops to the ground thinking it's like a bomb or grenade. But not everybody has that as their symptoms of PTSD.
And to your point, the disorder aspect, trauma isn't a flaw or a failure. It's your system doing what it had to do to keep you alive. So the healing process, it's not about fixing yourself. It's about feeling more settled in yourself.
If you've ever been walking through the world carrying invisible weight, know that your pain is real. Your responses make sense and you're not alone. We'll be back with more episodes that speak to the nervous system, challenge the old narratives, and help you build safety from the inside out. Until then, take a breath. You're already doing the work. Thanks for joining us. See you next time, and stay wildly unbothered.